when your team has to intervene to prevent a player from harming themselves, that means we've allowed things to go too far already.
You're listening to 15M Mastery, a show that empowers you with insights from the leading iGaming experts to enhance your personal or business performance. The show is brought to you by tech-driven affiliate and media company Already Media, and supported by the AI-powered data analytics platform Blask, and Yo Investments, a fund manager investing in outstanding people who are disrupting the iGaming, fintech, and crypto industries. Hey everyone, and welcome to 15M Mastery. Today we have a very special episode, and we're joined by the one and only Duncan Garvie, founder of BetBlocker. Duncan has done some of the most impressive work in the industry to protect players. Today we will explore how operators can integrate external blocking and self-exclusion tools to put players first. Welcome, Duncan.
Nice to meet you, or nice to see you even, Dimitri. It's been a while.
Let's go straight to the questions. So, why should operators treat self-exclusion and site blocking as the core brand asset, not just a compliance formality?
Well, this is really about how you want your brand to be viewed. In a market that is already, consumers have a built-in distrust of the gambling market right from the get-go. This is a natural dynamic. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just how consumers are going to respond to a product where they lose more often than they win. If you don't focus on building trust with consumers, you're going to lose out to the brands that do. Providing tools that help players manage their own gambling and empower them to stay within affordable limits keeps them loyal to your brand. It keeps them playing with you. We have more and more operators publishing data that supports these conclusions, where better and more effective interventions are taken earlier in the player journey. We see far longer player lifespans where, rather than having one blowout session, players are sustaining at an affordability level they can manage, and ultimately the operator is earning more. So this isn't just about compliance. This is about branding. This is about perception. And it's about building trust and loyalty with your players.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense in nowadays realities where, the products are the same, the brands and the brand identities are being blended as well. So yeah, I really like what you guys are doing, and I absolutely like this approach.
The bottom line is that brand identity is the most important thing for any online gambling operator. The reality is the products are identical. You're going to have a very similar selection of slots games, of live games, of sports bets to wager on to your competitors. You can't differentiate yourself via these. The way you differentiate yourself is by building a brand. And brand is about the promotions you offer. It's about how you interact with players and how well trained your team are to support customers with inquiries. And it's about how you are seen to protect players. And protection, I have a lot of problems with this sort of the mentality in the industry is often, not even in the industry, from the regulatory side, is often interventionalist. I.e., we should stop people from doing this. And that's not always a great way to go. Most people in any aspect of their life don't like to be told what to do.
Yeah.
That's just
I totally
human
agree with
nature. What we need to do is focus on empowering players to manage their own interactions. There will always be players where intervention is required. It's the nature of the beast. But what we should be focused on doing is giving players the right tools earlier in their journey to stop them getting to the point where we need to intervene. That's the player positive. That's a consumer-centric way to address these issues.
What is the simplest roadmap for any operator to add an external blocking option within 30 days? Because it sounds very complicated the way you explain it. Is there like a fast track?
The fast track is very simple, Dimitri. Day 1, speak to BetBlocker. Day 2, update your content with a few links. And day 3 through 30, take yourself a break because it's done. There really isn't any complicated integration when it comes to at least the BetBlocker product in terms of blocking software. You just, at the right points in your journey, in the player's journey, just signpost them to our support. We can take it from there. There's no technical development, a little bit of content change, a little bit of adjusting your live chat operator scripts to get the right information in at the right time. And that's it. I mean, if you really want to go the extra mile, speak to us and we'll book a session to do a question and answer session with your customer support team leaders so that they have an in-depth knowledge of the product, of what it can do and how best to signpost it for players. But it is just that easy.
Awesome. So just to summarize that piece a little bit, so you mentioned a few kind of user journey touch points where, the self-exclusion or blocking links tools should appear. Maybe you can just try to summarize all of them. So like what kind of customer journey links or places this like BetBlocker links should be appearing?
I would recommend, obviously, you've got your what is considered your responsible gambling page. Or your safer gambling page, depending on which term you prefer. You want to build in information there about going right through, and it's like a spectrum. It's like a rainbow. You layer it, and you start with basic things like a timeout or setting limits would be your first thing. So maybe a deposit limits or session limits, something like that. Then you've got your timeouts, you've got your self-exclusions, and then you've got blocking software, which you can talk about as an addition to your self-exclusion. You want to review your live chat or your user support, your customer support interactions. You want to every operator has scripts for managing different situations, and you just want to build in the right lines, right nudges at the right places to suggest to a user, look, if you're having a little bit of trouble, if you're finding, and this is where BetBlocker specifically is unique in blocking softwares, we don't just offer a continuous block, which is like a wider version of the self-exclusion. We also offer a scheduler. And what that allows users to do is block during specific periods of work vulnerabilities. So, for instance, if you don't want to stop gambling totally, but you know that actually during the match, it's the in-play betting that's causing me, I'm going over the top on the in-play betting, you can schedule your block to switch on for the period of the match and then switch off at the end. So you can still place your bets before the match and after the match. You just can't engage with the in-play betting. Or if what you're really concerned about is that you're not paying enough attention, you're not spending quality time with your kids, you can set your block to switch on when they get out of school and switch off when they go to bed. So you need to tailor your customer interactions, your live chat, your email support interactions to have these conversations, to build in a little bit of information about this. And it doesn't always have to be prohibitionary, is what I'm trying to say. Prohibitionary conversations quite often disengage people. Nobody's, well, not nobody, but for a lot of players, they're not at a point where they're ready to give up completely. And external blocking software seems like a big, daunting step. If you can talk to them about, well, just block for a week or just block during the times that you know you're in trouble, it gives them a starting point to regain control, to get a footing back on a safer place.
Yeah, I think I really like what you just mentioned, and it's time of data-driven questions. So how and like which single metric probably best shows that blocking tools are effective and protecting risky players, and how should teams monitor it?
Well, I think our operators should certainly be looking at the number of forced interventions they have to take. That this is a single metric I would, from an operator's perspective, I would be most concerned about, because when your team has to intervene to prevent a player from harming themselves, that means we've allowed things to go too far already. If we can intervene earlier, let me clarify. When I say intervene, I mean imposing a restriction on a player. If we can engage with the player earlier and empower that player with support, with tools to help them stay within a safe range of play, we won't need to intervene. So, if you're seeing your forced interventions climbing, that's because you're not doing a good enough job earlier in the player's life cycle of identifying and empowering the player. If you're seeing those figures dropping, thumbs up to you. You're getting it right.
Let's talk a little bit about the acquisition element, because I think in our industry, this one is going a little bit under the radar these days. So we know that if we're talking about the brand marketing campaigns of many operators, they're taking serious measures, right? They don't show a hardcore promotion of their offers, based on jurisdictions, there is a set of certain rules, but sometimes affiliates are probably those who go completely under the radar, and they're probably those who are not implementing any measures. So how can affiliates signal these tools clearly while sending commercially effective traffic to operators, and if it's possible at all?
Right. This is a complicated question, specifically because I think in a lot of the cases, the affiliates we're perhaps talking about here have no interest in signposting responsible gambling tools. They are targeting search terms that look to undermine national regulatory self-exclusion programs. They're already explicitly looking to engage vulnerable players and exploit them for profit. That is mutually incompatible with responsible gambling signposting. Even if they do engage responsible gaming signposting, what they're doing is just trying to use that as a fig leaf to hide the far more sinister business practices that are going on within their ecosystem. But that's not to say it's not possible to engage responsibly, and you only need to look at some of the market leaders around this in the affiliate sector for some examples of this. I personally am a big fan of Casino Guru. I think they've been doing a really good job for years now of evidencing that they're not perfect. There's things they can get better, but they are doing a really good job of leading the market and creating a positive example for how an affiliate can use responsible gambling and responsible engagement, healthy gambling, as a marketing tool. How they can build trust with their own audience, how they can ensure that players, when they're looking for a new place to play, are going to come back to them. So it can be done, and it should be done for any affiliate that isn't explicitly, cynically marketing to vulnerability. There are huge upside benefits to marketing social responsibility. You are building trust with your audience. That will improve return visits. That will improve conversion. That will ensure that you, when I was running the pog.com, we had a far higher player value than most of our competitors. And that's because the type of audience we attracted wanted trust and were more willing to invest once they felt they gained good information. It's smart business. So start signposting, start building in messages about staying safe, playing healthy. It doesn't have to be this doom and gloom, and I think the entire sector has got this wrong for so many years. This doom and gloom, any messaging around safer gambling is about harm and addiction and failed lives. That's not helping. That messaging appeals to a very small subset of users who already identify as harmed. The far, far bigger group of players who may be experiencing some levels of harm but don't yet identify as harmed, when they see that sort of doom and gloom messaging, they switch off. Oh, this isn't for me. This isn't relevant to me. I'm not an addict. I don't need to pay attention to this. So we need to stop talking about this in terms of harm and start talking about this in terms of how do you keep yourself safe? The basic things that you should do. And it's right down to, sorry, I'm going a bit off the affiliate topic here, but it's right down to simple little things. Right now, within the gambling industry, we have deposit limits built into the responsible gambling sections of gaming accounts. Well, deposit limits should be built into the banking section. Because you only go to the responsible gambling section if you're thinking, I've got a problem and I need help. Whereas if you build them in to the banking section on the deposit page where players can set them up, it doesn't seem like it's an addiction-related thing anymore. We've disassociated it with that, and more players are going to come into contact with it and think, oh, no, actually, I should set that up. It's about changing our entire approach, and this bleeds right through to affiliates. We shouldn't just have a responsible gambling page. We should be building that into our content. We should be building it into our podcasts, our videos, our written content, our reviews. We should be talking about what tools does this operator have to help you manage your play. And that's how affiliates build it in. As I said, there is a significant and growing subset of the affiliate sector that is targeted at exploiting vulnerability, and that isn't being helped by the regulation that's being pursued in a lot of jurisdictions. But unless you're pursuing that business model, you should be looking to build trust.
Duncan, this being one of the punchiest and mic dropping way of answering this question, and I absolutely love it, to be honest. The POC example and the Casino Guru example are probably one of the most relevant of all times here, and I absolutely like what you just mentioned about the rest of the practices. So, to be honest, I've been always a fan of what you guys are doing, and you personally, and your insights on player protection and everything we just discussed needs to be listened by everyone in our industry. And I love your work, and I hope everyone will support what you do, mate.
I've been following your work for a long time, Dimitri. It's making some real waves in the sector as well. So thank you very much for taking the time to speak to me today.
Absolutely mutual. Thank you.